I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpm.fm to discover more.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another new episode of the Theater Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Seals, and this episode is so much fun. We've got not one but two incredible composers who came together during the pandemic, having never met in person, to create a Tony-nominated Broadway score. Joy Huerta, a Latin pop star from the group Jesse and Joy, and Benjamin Velez, a seasoned musical theater composer, joined forces over Zoom, and they wrote the music for Real Women Have Curves. So what started out as a remote collaboration quickly became one of the most harmonious, pun intended, partnerships I've ever heard described. In this conversation, we dig into how they balanced cultural authenticity with theatrical storytelling, how they wrote character-specific music rooted in identity and heritage, and how they dealt with the heartbreak and necessity of cutting songs in service of the story, something that Joy, coming from the pop world especially, was unfamiliar with. There's also a hilarious deep dive into solfege versus letter notation, learning to speak each other's musical language, and a wild origin story involving a Costco membership checker and a demo tape. You'll see what I mean. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for exclusive clips. Head over to my Patreon or watch on Spotify to get the full video versions of the interview. And now everybody, please enjoy this episode with Joy Huerta and Benjamin Velez.
Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
Today we are joined by two incredibly talented composers whose unique musical paths have led them to Broadway in an exciting new collaboration. Joy Huerta is a Grammy award-winning singer, songwriter, and producer, best known as one half of the Latin pop duo Jesse and Joy. Her work has topped charts across the globe, and she's recognized for her emotionally rich songwriting and distinctive voice in both English and Spanish language music. Benjamin Velez is an award-winning composer and lyricist whose work has been featured at Lincoln Center, Ars Nova, and the Public Theater. A Columbia graduate and ASCAP Harold Adamson Award winner. There's a lot to read. He's known for his inventive theatrical scores and his dedication to telling stories that center on diverse voices. And together, they have joined forces as the co-composers of Real Women Have Curves, the new Broadway musical adaptation of the beloved play and film. Their partnership blends Latin pop and theatrical storytelling into a score that's fresh, powerful, deeply rooted in cultural authenticity, and now Tony-nominated. Joy and Benjamin, welcome to the Theater Podcast.
Hi.
That's quite a mouthful.
I feel like you're going to have to travel with us. And anytime I go into a room, you're coming first. Introducing us.
I like that. It always harkens back to that one episode of Family Guy where Peter wanted entrance music everywhere he went. Are you Family Guy fans?
I love him.
He just walked in and he's like, or something like that. I don't know. But we'll give you your own entrance music. I don't need my phone anymore. I'm going to get it out of the shot. There we go. So Real Women Have Curves, again, congratulations on the Tony nomination.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So I just want to start by asking you to, how did you meet? How did your collaboration start?
We just met for this project, and we did it over Zoom during the end of the pandemic, and we wrote...
fresh, middle.
Yes, middle.
Fall of 2020.
Yes, and we literally just started working most of the score through Zoom, and it was really fun because we were getting to know each other, we were getting to know each other's sound, and we were getting to know each other personally at the same time. And I feel like it was a beautiful process because we were not trying to overstep on each other's way of working. And we started muting each other at some point when we were coming up with ideas. And that was really refreshing because whenever you're writing with someone in the same room and someone starts humming something, you tend to follow whoever's humming some idea, and you naturally go into that sound. And whenever we were going through the script, first of all, we were given 4 songs at the very beginning. They were like, guys, let's see if this works out. Let's see if this is a good pair. And
It was like our semi-audition.
Yeah, we didn't know, though.
Does this pairing work?
But we didn't know.
No.
It was just like, we would love to hear, a batch of the first 4 songs, and let's see what comes out of that. And we would, go through a little bit of what the scenes were, and we started muting each other, and then but we were keeping each other company because we could see each other, but we couldn't talk to each. I mean, we could. We just decided not to make any sound so we could come up with fresh ideas.
Yeah, when you said muted, I was like literally muted on the computer, but
we
yeah,
were keeping
yeah.
each other company.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we were
It
working.
was actually, it made it a lot easier than if we
Yeah.
were in the same room. Because Joy's main instrument is guitar and mine is piano. So that also helped us bring different colors to it
Totally.
at
How
first.
did that work when one of you wanted to share your thing with the other? Did you raise your hand?
No, we'd text each other.
we would unmute ourselves and be like, I have an idea.
Yes.
Can I send you it?
And if the other one was in the zone, I was like, oh, sorry. I'll just text you.
Okay.
And then we'd be like sending each other voice memos, and it was great because it was like, oh my God, this is going to sound great with an idea I had, or be like, let's keep this one for this other thing we're going to have to work on later on, etc. But at some point, we figured out that we wanted to give each character a different sound, and I think that's what made it funner to create, because we have a group of women in a factory, and in the majority of the show, and we wanted them to sound like something. But then we have their individual songs, and it was like, okay, what are they going to sound like individually? And that just gave us the opportunity to bring more colors, to bring more elements, to bring different sounds, and to just make sure, because we did speak about this at the very beginning, the way I create music, even when I write an album, I don't want it to sound like the same thing, just, through a different lens. It's like, it has to be cohesive, but at the same time, it has to have his own identity. And Benjamin was like, he's like, totally, definitely, let's do that. And when we were creating the sound, we wanted it to be in cohesion with each song, but at the same time to have its own identity.
And I think what was tough is there's very little real estate for every one of those women to have their own song. So we had to kind of be very purposeful when we were going into another style. So a few examples that stick out to me are the song Siempre Mi Gente is a very specific style. That's when they're kind of remembering their ancestors. There's Estela's Daydream song, which is her kind of moment where she's just lost in the dream of being a documented citizen and the things that regular people might take for granted. So for each of these moments, when we do get them alone, we wanted to then lean into, okay, so what is the specific character's musical background in terms of what they grew up listening to? Like Estela, she came as a young kid to the States, but she still had roots in Mexico. So we wanted her style to be rooted in mariachi, but also have some of that pop that we gave to Ana, who's the one that was born and raised in the States. And Ana has very little in her own songs of that kind of Mexican flavor, or the traditional Mexican flavor. So we wanted to be purposeful about those choices. And same with Carmen, when she sings the De Nada song, hers is like full out mariachi. And because hers is about this dream that she had to let go of, but of course you never let go of dreams. You might put them away, or accept that maybe they're not something you can live.
You
But
bite your tongue. I'm going to achieve all my dreams.
you will, I believe you. But that's kind of how once we kind of figured out our way of working together, then we kind of, story-wise, we're like, okay, let's approach this song this way because of this character's past.
So, Ben, you were just talking about, you wanted very consciously to give each character a different sort of sound or a different voice or whatnot. So even at the beginning, Joe, you mentioned it was this kind of an unofficial audition, or maybe an official audition. You guys weren't privy to the fact that it was, but how much did you work with the book writers on this to know who the characters were, and who each of the what all the backstories for the characters were?
I mean, I don't know what existed when Joy was brought on earlier than me, but when I got brought on and we got paired together, there was already a version of Lisa Loomer's book that she had written. And so we had all this material to work off of in terms of, she had ideas for where she thought certain songs should go, but then it was kind of up to us to song spot and decide, oh, maybe this moment in the scene could be better in song, or we could bring it to life more with music. And she was very open to that. And later when Nell Benjamin came to work with Lisa, it was as collaborative as we could be. We tried to all work together. It was hard because we all lived in different places.
Different times.
Lisa lives in
Oregon.
I
live in Mexico City.
And Nell and I are here, but very rarely did we ever have a chance to all get together in the same room or even the same Zoom room, just with schedules. So a lot of it was done through email and back and forth, Google Docs. But it was always people were generous with each other in terms of like, what if we take this bit that you might like in your scene and turn it into a song, or vice versa? Like, what if this thing that we're trying to achieve in a song, we actually cut the song? It's better to just, we don't need to expand the story in that way.
Is that hard for both of you to have songs cut if you work weeks or months on something?
It's so hard.
Is it really?
It's like a baby. I mean, they say that, and it's like a cliche. You have to learn to kill your babies, but it really, that's how.
I just learned that phrase a couple of days ago, and I was like, that is so harsh. It's terrible. It's almost like cutting fingers. It's like, pick which one you want to keep. I kind of need them all. But whenever we were going through this journey of telling the story and finding the right way to approach it, me personally, at the very, very, very beginning, whenever we delivered those 4 songs, I was like, this is so easy. Like, we just delivered them. Ben was like, don't get your hopes up. That's not how this is going to work.
3 of those 4 are still in the show.
Yes. And one of those has many versions.
Really?
Many, many, many versions, which I still believe the first one could have perfectly worked with the story, but it lives in my memory and in your memory, so it's totally fine. I mean, it's just, it went through many different versions because...
You're talking about Flying Away?
Yes. Should it be more literal? It's too literal now. Can it be somewhere in between? And some of the producers wanted the original version, so it was like a lot of back and forth on that, except for the chorus. The chorus always remained basically how it is, but it was a very different process for me. Like, once I was brought on along, I was brought in, I was approached early 2020, and I was just so excited about this opportunity, and I mean, it's totally different from where I come from, and I was just like, I love a challenge. And then I started reading the play, and I saw the movie, and I was a little bit worried. I was like, how could this be a musical? And it was a lot of conversations of, don't worry, we think about it in a very different way from what the film is, from what the play is. We want this to be its own thing. And I was just like, listen, I love that you have so much faith in me. I can write music, I can make music, but I've never done a musical. And so I asked for someone like Benjamin, and they brought the perfect person along. And whenever we started writing, he would kind of like walk me through some parts of the process and be like, they want the opening. We're not going to touch that until the end of in a few years. And I was like, what do you mean?
I've
It's
learned
like
the hard way.
Yes. And he was
Don't
like,
write the opening till the end.
don't do it until the end, because that's going to be changed a numerous amount of
And
times.
it
And I was
was.
like,
The whole story. The story of the
no,
opening.
literally,
Yeah,
we did
yeah,
that at the
yeah.
very end. And I'm so glad that we did, because, so some songs happened that way. I feel like it was only maybe, let's say, Leave the Light On, the Mrs. Right song. What else did it?
Always on the Run.
Always on. But I'm glad we did that, because that was like a good choice.
Mole.
But I feel like those are versions of them.
Well, but they were reinvented. Like,
Yes.
there were many songs that retained maybe the hook, but the core of it was sucked. I mean, every time the story changes, the songs are going to have to change.
Mhm.
I guess that's the thing. It's whenever the story changed, it was fine to come up with different ideas. But there were 1 or 2 songs that were rough conversations about like creative, like
It's just a taste thing.
it's like, okay, guys, you can't say this is wrong or you can't say this is right. It's a matter of taste. It's like, I can't say all music is bad if I don't like it. I can't
Yeah.
say all music is good if I like it. I used to think I wasn't a theater person, and it turns out, in Mexico is not as heavy as it is culturally speaking, like it is in the US.
Mhm.
And then I started being exposed to like really good theater off Broadway and on Broadway. And I was like, it's just like music. There's music you can, connect with, and theater you can connect with. And whenever it came to those decisions for those couple of songs, it was just like a matter of, listen, tell me you don't like it. I can live with that, but just say it out loud and we can move on.
Yeah.
And it is hard.
Ya no mas.
Oh my God, yeah, no.
There's if we actually opened the trunk of the dead, there would be many.
Trunk of the Dead.
Yeah.
Because this is not an original story, right?
Right.
We're adapting. And the trick with adaptation, especially adapting from something that's non-musical to musical, is you don't want the characters to just be reflecting the whole time. So you have to find ways to activate them. And that was, I think, a challenge with this, because the original material is a very slice of life story where a lot of things happen around Anna, but she's not moving the story forward. And that I feel like every 20-hour reading and workshop we did, we always got the same questions of like, how are we activating Anna? So this
Oh
is,
my God, the word activating just became like my worst word in the words. Like, if I hear activating one more time, I'm
PTSD
gonna
when you hear
lose
activating.
my mind.
well, and like, so for example, when Nell came on board, she had this idea for the juggling montage.
Oh my God, yes.
And because we created this subplot of Anna being a journalist, which doesn't really exist in the original material. And that helped. That was, I think, the key to activating her and showing, we wanted to show the women that Anna's pursuit was valuable and could have impact on all of them. And so finding ways to make that resonate and happen in the factory was part of the challenge. But it was a fun challenge, and I think we found a way to do it.
And I also think that when it comes to adaptations, I feel like we really did create something new out of the source material,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like the essence was there and the prime material was there, but we really gave it a whole new life. And I feel like the choices that we made, creatively speaking, with the book writers, and it was just like, okay, if we keep on using the word activating, something is not working. Something's not working, right? Like what do we have? We have to go back. And a part that I love about this process is how much it's like a domino effect. And you touch something at the very beginning, you have to go backwards and revisit. You have to you touch something in the middle. How is that going to affect the end? And vice versa. So I feel like that is something that definitely helped the music, because as much as we were so in love with most of the material we had created, at some point after we had that run in Boston, we revisited and revisited and revisited both book and music. And I just feel like it came to the place where it had to be.
I think another challenge that we were able to solve musically was how to not make Anna's pursuit of wanting to change the world feel too cheesy. And I think the way we were able to solve that is by finding moments where we could just show that she's an 18-year-old girl. Like, she doesn't have it all figured out. So, like, the song with Itzel, If I Were a Bird, where they're just having fun being
It's one of my favorite
teenage girls.
Well, a lot of Itzel Itzel is new. It
She
doesn't.
was created for this adaptation.
And we did not want her to be a token. We did not want her to be a prop in Anna's story.
Oh, poor me.
Yeah.
No,
I come
we
from
wanted
a tough situation.
we
You
wanted
should
her
pity
to
me.
we wanted her to really be a person and really have, because we want to give backstory to everyone as much as we could. And when it came to Itzel, we took we took the chance, and it's like another want song in the show. And we wanted it to be like the other side of the coin that Anna has. Anna has this, she thinks, what if I fly, like when I fly away? For Itzel, it's not like that. She can just wish to be a bird. And we wanted to just show the audience what a difference it makes where you're born. It's just a matter of the cards that you're dealt. And those two, and because we were like, should we just go for it and use the bird analogy? Because it's a real poem. And we did get some back and forth from the director and the producers, like, do we really want to go with a lot of flying? And I was like, well, it's a different kind of flying. That's the whole point of it. It's like,
And not to be like pun intended, but like there was a poetry to it of like, we wanted the ways that they're seeing this future or potential future to align, but not in the exact same way. And we really found gold with this real poem that existed, because when you hear that she's going to recite a poem, you don't expect it to be to have this silly punchline, this irreverence to it. You expect it to be this like beautiful turn of phrase. And the fact that it is so surprising is so satisfying, because you realize like even the people out there in the world, whether they're in the Middle East or in South America, who are really under tough situations, they have to get through the day with humor and lightheartedness, because that's how we survive.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to show her strength by showing that she's able to laugh.
especially at that age.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the episode. Something I've heard both of you say in another interview is it like, I think you worked together because of COVID virtually for like a year and a half or so, or 2 years before you actually met in person. And so I equate that to essentially like a long distance relationship.
Yes. It's like we met online.
Yeah, you met online, and it's kind of Love is Blind-ish, because things are different when you're in person. And did you find that you were kind of resetting when you got together in person for the first time, or was it just like, I already know you, we've got past all the awkward first night stuff?
Already know
I mean, I don't know.
you.
I think because, Joy has a very busy life in Mexico City, and she has 2 young kids. The times when we were finding to work together, we're not like, oh, Joy's in meeting mode. It was like, I have to eat my breakfast. I'm sorry if I'm chewing loud. Let me know. Like we
That's how the muting began.
It was we weren't like all proper about this from the start. We were like, oh my God, how are you? Tell me everything that's going wrong in your life, and I'll tell you what's going wrong in mine.
Well, a lot of I feel like 50% of writing it's knowing who you're writing with. And not for everybody, but for example, if I don't know, sometimes I've had these random writing sessions, and it's nice. I mean, you meet the person, and it's like you chat for a little bit, but you cannot just go into it. It's a little bit weird, And for us, knowing it was going to be such a long process, we were like getting to know each other as we were working on songs. And when you're writing a song, you're not completely actively writing for 2.5 hours. It's like you're thinking about it and, hey, how's your day? Yeah, this and this and that. And how's it going? Well, someone in my family got a cold. Oh my God, I hope you don't get it. And it's like all of a sudden you're connecting. And we became friends. And it was funny because to me, chemistry, you can't fake it.
Yeah.
And it can go through a screen, miles and miles away from you.
Why movies do screen tests.
Exactly.
Chemistry tests.
No, seriously. But by the time we met, there was no awkwardness. We didn't feel like, can I touch you or anything? We just ran to each other's arms and we just like, hi! It just felt right.
Yeah. I mean, I think what helped is from the get-go, I just felt like you had so much built-in respect for me and I for you that we didn't have to prove ourselves to each other. We were just able to, because I think the key to a good collaboration is not being afraid to say the bad ideas.
Yeah.
And from the get-go, we just sent each other voice memos that were terrible, but we knew we respected each other's talents enough to know that, you know what I mean? You don't have, if we were in a collaboration, let's say I was collaborating with someone who I felt like I really had to prove myself to, I would put so much effort into making those voice memos be perfect so that I wouldn't lose their respect. But Joy made me feel from the get-go that I had her respect. So I think that really made it just feel effortless.
Oh yeah, because we were like, this is a crap idea. I'm just going to say it. Because sometimes you feel like it's dumb in your head, but it's either dumb or gold, And it'd be like, I'm just going to say it. And be like, no, say it. And it'd be like, oh my God, that's great. Or he'd be like, this is going to be terrible. And it was just sing it. Just say it. And it was always been just so lovely. And I don't want to use the word respectful again, but it's just been
activating.
Oh my God, yes. We were activating each other without knowing it.
But it's not easy to find. So we did get lucky in that respect because there was no telling what it could have been. And I feel lucky that we got this opportunity. Yeah.
Oh.
But also, I mean, we had a great team around us, and it didn't feel like we were alone doing it. Lisa and then Nell, we all felt like we were heading in the same direction, and it helped.
But it was a very collaborative process. I feel that, I mean, for me being my first show ever, I really got very lucky because Lisa Loomer is a phenomenal book writer, but she's also a beautiful human being. Nell Benjamin is the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're talented, but they're great people. And sometimes it would be like, I really want to stop talking work and just want to hang out because we would laugh. We would have such a good time. And the best ideas came from when we were literally together in the same room, and it didn't happen that often. And so we would take advantage of those hours that we were together in a summit. We'd be like, oh, we have to just get the best out of each other. And we would really solve those problems that sometimes the director would be like, something is happening here. How can we fix it, et cetera, et cetera. And then it was just like, leave us alone in a room for a little bit. And then we'd just be talking crap ideas. And some of them were great. And it just felt like I had not been exposed to such a collaborative type of process before. And to me, I just fell in love with it because it was also with beautiful people that I loved hanging around with. And I feel that, yes, we did get very lucky.
Well, and it's really important that the book is tonally doing the same thing as the songs for it to work together. One of my favorite moments in the show is Carmen and Pancha are making stupid, silly jokes about why their husbands love their bodies, and then right away the raid happens, and you're in this really dark moment that the audience is having to switch their brains. Wait, are we still in a joke? And I feel like those kinds of tonal shifts, the way that the book navigates them, then gives us permission with our songs to do the same. And I think that at least that's what I feel is one thing that's really successful about the score is that we're able to both tackle difficult subjects, but then also have those moments of them losing their virginity together. There's a lot of silliness and seriousness.
I agree with that. The fact that we were able to complement each other in that way, because I feel like sometimes there are some heavy subjects happening in the music, but the fact that you're saying them through music, it's like literally having a chaser.
Yeah.
And I think that is also refreshing in terms of not feeling that you're sitting on a very heavy moment, But to me, music has always been that. You can get away with saying something like the bird song, or go to a subject like Siempre Mi Gente and just talk about their stories and how they got here. And I love that, and I feel like we were able to create that beautiful. I'm forgetting words in English and in Spanish, by the way, but between the book and the music, I feel like it was we were complementing each other.
Synergy, I don't know.
Synergy, yes.
But Sergio also helped with that too, because there were times when, like, he was very involved in the process, both with us and with the book writers, and there were times when maybe those tones were even more opposed, and he had a good sense of when, okay, maybe that's too much, maybe we need more lightheartedness here, and he helped calibrate that. Because it's a fine line, and you want to be respectful to the people who this story is about, and you don't want them to come, people who have lived this or have family members who have lived this, come and see this and be like, oh, they're making fun of us, or this feels like a sitcom. And like, there are moments where the jokes like verge on that, but they're grounded in the sense of like, you feel like, oh, this is how they would joke in that factory. Like, and that's how people talk sometimes, especially when you work in a sweatshop, and that's how you get through the day, is by ribbing on each other. And so the fact that we made it all feel part of a world, I think, helps make it successful.
That's really interesting. And I guess, Joy, from your perspective, this is your first musical that you've composed, co-composed, and you're used to, of course, writing lots of music on your own, and I think it speaks to who you are, and maybe how not big your ego is when you're like, all right, I need some help. Like, I got to bring in somebody, right?
You got to listen. And I respect everyone and their own decisions. To me, it was a matter of, I really want to do the best that I could, and I wanted to learn. And the only way you can do that, and I've told them numerous times, and I just felt so lucky that I get to place myself in situations, in places with people that are so much more talented, so much more intelligent. I feel like that's the only way you can grow. And if I don't do that in life, I'll just be like, I don't know, that to me sounds boring. And the fact that I get to learn about a whole new different industry, about a whole new different world, it's just getting an extra set of skills. Like, to me, this is the closest you get to the version of the Matrix of uploading a new software in your mind, right? It's like you get together with more talented, like, you feel like you're the least talented person in the room. And I feel like this, to me, this is what it feels like. I've been very lucky to be with people that are amazing, that are generous. I mean, I got to say too, being the new one, they were so patient with me. Like, what is the want song? What is the 11 o'clock song? And they were just using these phrases or this lingo. And I'd be texting Ben, what does that mean? We also have our music supervisor, Nadia Di Giallonardo, who I absolutely love and adore. And
we could never have done this show without her. She really, she was a rock for us.
She's just amazing. And I would either text her or Ben and be like, what does that mean? What just happened? And they'd be so patient with me. And I'm still, it was a crash course, and I'm still getting the hang of it. But it's been great. Like, who wouldn't want to make the collaboration even bigger?
Right. Was the process writing for this similar to what you normally write with, or the normal process when you're putting an album together? Because you're saying, like, for an album, you want it to all be a theme, but each song needs to stand alone.
Yeah, it's like creating a menu. I love comparing music to food because I love both. And I feel like if you're going to do a 12-course menu, you want to, there's have to be like a common thread. You don't want to be fed the same thing and just be like, they just move that around the plate. And you want to go through this journey, right? You want to be taken through a journey. Your palate wants to go on a journey. I feel like your ears, your soul, your mind wants to go through a journey as well. And writing for an album is a little bit different, but I feel like maybe I brought a little bit of that, and Benjamin didn't even notice, and he just caught on immediately. Because when I'm in a writing session, and especially after COVID, because a lot of it started happening over Zoom, it's like you have a couple of hours. You have to be very effective with that. Especially, like he was saying, I'm usually on tour. I have 2 little kids. I have a wife, and they are my priority. And so I was trying to go pick them up from school or drop them off at school as much as I could, but also be responsible to this responsibility that I had, plus the Jesse and Joy stuff that is also time consuming. Like, I literally took on another day job. And so without knowing, that's part of something that I would do in the pop world. We would sit for 2 hours and we would get things done. Like, it was so effective. But the thing that I feel that is different is a fact of it's just ever changing. I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for it. And at the very beginning, I was a little, how dare they? But yes, it comes and goes as the story changes. But ultimately, it also helped me with my Jesse and Joy life, like my pop life, and not be so attached to things. And I think it's a good thing because I feel like art, they say art is never done. You just have to let it be. And it felt like that with this as well, because normally I would write a song, record it, put it out in the world, it was done. But then I'd be touring and I'd be like, I wish I had said something a little different here. Oh, maybe they won't notice and I'll just change the word when I do it live. And I could do that, but here it's totally different. It's like, you know what? Maybe we could say this instead of that. And even by the time we were in previews, we changed a lot of things that we felt could have been even better. I mean, I feel like we continued improving things. And I just feel like both this and now, I feel like, both my both day jobs complemented each other. They nurtured each other. And now I feel like they both helped each other out.
Yeah. Ben, was it for you different working with somebody that had music experience that was completely outside of the musical theater realm? Or was just like, oh, they can write, but I have to tell them what terms mean.
It definitely was different, but in ways I expected, in ways I didn't expect. Like, I love that she used the food metaphor of the courses, because I was going to say that there was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and maybe more cooks than are in the kitchen when she's making an album, because we had the producers, the director, the writers, and us all having ideas of what it should be, and can help make it the best version. It can also drive you crazy. Because getting everyone to agree is challenging. So sometimes you have to choose when to put your foot down and when. And Joy was really helpful because she came from a world where there are fewer cooks and she's the head chef. She had more skill set of being like, this is what it is, and we're the writers of this song, and we're gonna decide to say no more on that. And
no mas.
But also some parts that were different are, for example, we didn't do the orchestrations in Boston, but we did them for Broadway. And normally you would have the orchestrations be done by somebody who is just getting the charts late in the game and then gets it all done, and you don't hear it till the band rehearsal. But because Joy was used to kind of building songs in the room when she does an album, the two of us, Nadia and Rich, who orchestrated it.
We love you, Rich Mercurio.
We do. We all got to, whenever Joy was in town, we would squeeze in, okay, Joy has 8 hours. Let's go to Rich's apartment. We'll order Thai food, and we're going to just sit in front of the computer, and we're going to piece together a song because Joy wanted to hear it versus just doing it on paper. And that was just a fun difference of I wasn't used to that, but it was a cool change. And I wouldn't have gotten that experience if I wasn't working with someone from her side of the industry.
I got to say, something that was very challenging for me is that I don't know how to read music. And I just learned how to play instruments and to sing just by ear. So whenever we were in the studio, it was so intimidating and it still is, and I love it. I mean, at some point, I wish I get the time to actually sit down and learn. But whenever they were just talking technicalities and reading off the charts, I would have to just be like, can I just sing you what I have in my head? And so I would have to leave the room, come back, and just hum these ideas. And they were like, oh, I get it. So they were very patient in that aspect too. But by the time we were in the studio, that's whenever it just, like Benjamin is saying, it became so much more fun, because that's probably my element, right? That's what I'm used to. I thrive when we're in the studio, and I would just be bouncing off the walls, and they'd be like, okay, Joy, we cannot go as fast as your brain is going or your mouth is going.
She would step into the other room, record of a trumpet part, and be like, put this in the track.
They'd be like, stop leaving the room. We don't have enough time to put all these ideas down.
It's funny because one of the things that made our collaboration difficult, which is not because she's from the pop world, it's because she's from Mexico, where they just learn the scale differently. Her language of how she talked about notes was the solfege, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do.
Yeah.
And I think of it as, okay, we're going to have a C chord here. And she was like, C, what's that? You mean do? Like do sharp?
I'd be so lost.
Do sharp.
Seriously, I wrote down charts, and I would never have them in hand. And I'd be like, I'm so lost. And they'd be trying to, I was like, I don't want to make you lose time, but we would have to write them down.
It's funny because I should have just made a chart. Because every meeting we had, you would be like, wait, what's the chord? And I'd have to think, okay, do, re, mi, fa, so. Okay, it's so minor. Like we never, and it's random fact, but my husband is French, and he has one of those minds where he just can hear a note and he knows what it is. And at our wedding, I wanted to do note, like the tables organized by like notes of the scale. But we had a huge fight about whether it should be like do, re, mi, fa, sol, or like A. So we ended up having like do/C, like for every table. But so I had experience with this problem, but I haven't learned my lesson.
Life was preparing you for me all along.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read music either, and I had no clue that like there's an English metric discrepancy in the music world.
Think about
too.
the weather. It's like Fahrenheit,
Celsius.
and Celsius.
Yeah.
It was the exact same thing.
I know, because we're so America-centric here.
Right?
Or miles and kilometers. It was just like, okay, can we try this again?
I just like Ray flat and me sharp and all that.
There you go. That's all you need to know.
That's the best. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the episode. All right, so I want to rewind real quick and touch on both of your personal journeys into the music world in general. And Ben, let's start with you. Like when you were a little kid, what got you into theater and what got you into music?
I mean, I loved singing since I was a little kid, and I started playing piano when I was 6, and I sang in the choir, and I started doing theater also around the age of 6. I played Oliver in a production of Oliver, and I caught the bug, and then I spent my whole childhood kind of performing, but also like I loved being creative. I loved making movies. I just loved storytelling, and I think I went to college for film. I thought I wanted to be a film director.
Really?
But I also wrote a musical in high school about a shampoo that makes people bald that never got put on, but it was like just such a fun experience that like I knew I loved
What's
writing.
it called? We got to bring it back.
It's called Nut House.
Nut House?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's bring back Nut House.
Well, it would be the first
Let's
world
premiere Nut House.
But I loved all the possibilities of musical storytelling, and that you can build a world that people just respond to music viscerally, and it's out of their control. Like, and I love the power of that. Like, and I love just watching. Like, I'm the kind of person that is having fun if everyone around me is having fun. And so I loved, like, because I loved performing, but I think what I realized I loved more is creating something and then seeing people react to it. And I think one of the most beautiful, this is not part of your question, but one of the most beautiful things for me of being with Joy through this experience is she's so used to performing her own work all the time, and her being in the audience, not being the one performing, and just watching the people around her just enjoy the thing on stage was such a magical experience for her. And I love getting to see that part. But that's how I got into this. I worked on a film set in college and was miserable. And that's when I was like, I think I'm going to pursue musical theater writing, even though it's a crazy thing to do. And I've been trying to do it ever since.
Wow. Joy, what about you?
Well, I love music ever since I can remember. My mom tells me that before speaking, I would try to hum and try to sing. I didn't believe her until I had my own kids, and the same thing happened, and get to seeing it. It was just beautiful and magical. But I've always had stage fright, and it's really funny because I knew I had a special voice, and I knew I had a good ear, and I could hear whenever people were not in tune or were not singing something pretty, and people would be, "Oh, that's so nice." I'd be like, "Is it?" and I just kept it for me. I felt like maybe there was something, off about my ear or whatever. But mom and dad would always make me try to sing something for family members if they'd ever come to the house, and I hated it because I just felt like anxiety taking over my body. And I started writing with my brother when I was 15 years old, and I opened a Pandora box. I just felt like I just could not stop doing it. I just kept on writing and writing and writing.
It was the writing that you leaned into.
Yeah, but I was like, what are these songs going to sound like? I want to hear them. And so my brother borrowed from someone else those microphones that you used to use in the computers, and we started recording those. Like
the little pencil microphones?
Yes.
Yeah,
they sounded so bad.
Oh, they were terrible.
It was like better than nothing. Yeah. And we just got like, I don't know, I feel like it's also the first time that me and my brother really started getting along in terms of like, he's 3.5 years older than me, and you're always fighting with your sibling, but that just became like, it was just like neutral ground. And we just kept on writing and writing and writing and writing. And one of those recordings that we had went hand in hand because he gave it to some other friend. And one day I got a call from Warner Music. They're still my record label at this time. They were like, we're looking for these 2 kids, Jesse and Joy and Jesse. You have an appointment on Wednesday. Be there at 10 a.m. I was just like, what just happened? And my dad was like, I'm taking you. Like, I want to know if this is for real. We got there. It was legit. And we were signed ever since. And
How did it get to them?
it was, I mean, we traced it down, a while back. And my brother was working at Costco. He was the guy that would check the membership. And he had a daughter. He and him and his girlfriend got pregnant very young. So he was like, he had to work. And he ran into this other friend he had because he plays basketball. And guy sees him and is like, what are you doing here? He's like, I got to work. I'm going to have a baby. And I have a band with my sister. I mean, he just like casually threw that over there. And I was like, well, I have a guy, I have a marketing agency. So, maybe they can do some pictures for you. Like he just wanted to help my brother, this young guy who got pregnant. And it's like, okay. So my brother says, ooh, let's go do a photo shoot. And I was like, okay. So we went there. And this guy's like, well, I would have to hear some of your music to know, like, what kind of photos are we doing? Are we talking about? And we gave him one of those 3 tracks that we had recorded. And turns out his girlfriend used to work at Warner. She heard our music and she was like, I have to put it in the head of the label's pile of songs to hear because these guys are kind of good. And so they heard us, they made the appointment, and one day they called and they were like, we have a contract for you.
Ben, did you know this?
I did not know this. No. It's amazing.
Wow.
I know.
When's the movie coming out?
I know. I mean, I have a documentary coming out soon, but it's like a whole other story.
Have you traced down that guy, the one guy?
Everybody. We traced every single person
you
years later.
Thank them all in your Tony speech.
This was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty crazy because my band is
dedicated to Costco.
Yes, exactly.
This Tony is sponsored by Costco.
It's just insane. I mean, whenever you feel like, I don't know, that's a different kind of conversation, but I just feel like sometimes you don't know you're working towards something and you're just putting that energy out in the universe.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I'm aligned with the universe. The universe has always been very kind to me, but then I hear people say, yes, but it's because you put that energy out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the same thing happened with Broadway. Like I said, I didn't think I was a theater person, and it's not because I was disrespectful of it. Culturally speaking, it was not something that I was into, and it's not something that I was exposed to. And it's so funny because I sometimes think that I still have that mindset, and my wife is like, you do know that all you talk about now, it's like theater and plays and shows and how amazing a person is when you see them acting and this and that. Because I went to see, obviously I saw Audra McDonald in Gypsy and I was just so blown away. And then I went to see O'Mary and I was like, oh my God, blown away again.
Yeah.
But and my wife is like, you kind of love this. Like you haven't realized it yet. And I was like, but this just happened recently. I was like, oh my God, I do. I love it. It's just like music. You don't love all music, but you love what you love. And it happens with theater as well. When you find something that just speaks to you, it's like, it's insane how much you can connect.
At different points in your life, of course, the color what you write, but also what you enjoy. I found myself like things that I didn't like in high school or even in college. Now that I have kids, I'll go back with a different lens and listen to the lyrics.
Or even food.
Yeah, yeah, food, especially. Especially, do you cook when you?
I love cooking. I'm not as I don't think I'm that good, and I don't think I have the patience for it because I'm too hungry when I'm doing it. Ben makes fun of my ADD.
She's a snacker. She likes the instant gratification of delicious things.
Same.
I like cooking.
I'm guilty of it. Yes, he can cook.
A baker?
I love it when he.
I'm not a baker as much, but my husband's French, so he's taught me a lot cooking wise. And my mom was a single mom who I used to joke that everything was burned, and so I was the only kid who was like, I love the cafeteria food. So it's a new skill, but I enjoy. It's very therapeutic.
He's very good at it.
I like having to take time out of the day to do it because I'm the kind of person that otherwise would just keep working and doing other things. I don't make time for things, so cooking requires you to make time.
Yeah. I come from the nerdy background of video games, so that's my time out. Whenever I need to unplug, I will just sit down. Now with my 10-year-old, he loves to play with me too, but so we'll bond with that. But I would used to just completely just veg out, and I would, when I was stressed, I always tell my wife, I'm like, I'm going to go shoot the heads off aliens now. I just need to
you
blow
need
off
to
some steam. Yeah.
depressurize.
Yeah. Depressurize is a good way of doing it. Okay. So as we wrap up this episode, so I've got 60 seconds here that I'll show you on my screen in a second. And I have a list of 17 popular musicals. Yeah, this is going to be fun. And so together,
No, he's going to...
together, you give me a number 1 through 17. It will correspond to a show on my list. And then you have 60 seconds to give me the plot to that musical.
The
Make it
actual
up.
plot?
Yeah, make it up if you don't know it.
Okay.
Together or
Yes, this is the first time I've ever done this together. This is going to be fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, so 1 through 17, give me a number.
16.
16. All right. Turn this around so you can see. Get my mouse ready to go. Where's my mouse? I can't see upside
Oh, God,
down.
the skills
There.
you need for this.
All right. Ready? Usually I do this on the screen. It's a lot easier. Okay. So that corresponds to Avenue Q. Go.
60 seconds remaining.
That's one of my favorite
Oh my
shows
gosh.
ever.
Okay. You talk about it. You know it.
So Avenue Q is a version of Sesame Street before adults. It's set on a fictional New York Avenue, where a bunch of people are just trying to figure out their lives and get
45
by,
seconds remaining.
and they're dealing with just everyday problems. But
Are there Muppets?
there are half of them are Muppets,
Okay.
half of them are humans, and there are songs about porn on the internet. There are songs about everyone's a little bit racist.
30
All kinds
seconds
of
remaining.
Is it like Big Mouth?
Kind
it's
of.
better. There,
I love Big Mouth.
Big
Me
Mouth is
too.
great, but Avenue Q is just it's just really the OG classy.
I love it.
It's just so good.
What's the
And
plot?
15
the
What's
seconds.
the plot?
The plot.
remaining.
I mean, there's like a typical.
Please tell me a person falls in love with a puppet.
I think this
A Muppet.
someone's broke and they're trying to.
4.
It's like there's a
5,
romantic plot.
2,
I did a terrible job.
3, 2.
I was so into it. This sounds like is it an original show? Is it a real show?
It won.
Yeah,
it
won
the
best
Tony,
musical. It beat Wicked for best music.
Yeah, it won the Tony.
Amazing.
22-ish years ago, 23 years ago
Mhm.
now, something like that. Yeah, it's
They should make a film. Is there a film?
no.
I'm going to pitch it.
I wanna
Who do we
produce
have
it.
to
I
talk
was
to?
just
Yeah,
saying
let's do
yesterday,
it.
it's
Mhm.
a travesty that's not. No one can see it anymore in New York.
It was at New World Stages for
Oh my!
years off Broadway. Yeah,
But it sounds
Yeah.
so good.
it is. It is. It's one of the best things. And then ever since then, it's kind of like opened the door for some other shows to incorporate live action and puppetry. And there was Trekkie Monster is kind of like Cookie Monster. It's performed by 2 people. But they're all on stage.
I love this.
They're not hiding any of the real people. But within 2 minutes,
You start forgetting,
you forget
yeah.
that they're
Oh
there.
my God.
Yeah,
Oh my! I bet it sounds amazing.
yeah, that's good. You should see it. You can go go to the
It's called
library.
Park Avenue.
Avenue Q.
Avenue Q.
On Avenue Q. On Avenue Q. Okay.
And the Q is like furry.
Oh.
Because they're all, yes, the internet is for porn. That's how Trekkie Monster makes all his money. Okay, so 3 standard closing questions, and we'll go one by one. So, Joy, let's start with you for this first one. Just simply what motivates you?
What motivates me in life, just in
Mhm,
general?
mhm.
I think my family. I have a beautiful wife. She's my rock. She's my everything. I have 2 kids, Noah and Noor. Noah just turned 6 a couple of days ago, and Noor is 4, and they're absolutely adorable. They're the light of my life. And I feel like everything I do for them.
Ben?
I hope my husband doesn't kill me, but what motivates me is creating. I love waking up every day and just being creative and telling stories. I mean, I'm lucky that I'm finding success doing the thing that I love. I didn't know if I would, but I can't imagine doing anything else. And that's,
He's a close second. Well,
Of course,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so then, Ben, we'll start with you on this one. What advice would you give to your younger self and younger people listening now, starting out down a similar path?
I would say, don't assume that people will recognize good work. You have to be able to talk about your work in a way that excites people. For so long, I just assumed I'm going to create great work and the opportunities will come. And it really doesn't happen that way because what we do is very subjective. And also you have to bring people in and talk about why you love what you do, because sometimes your passion is what gets people in more than the work, and then they can appreciate the work. So that's what I would say.
Joy?
Always believe in yourself. I feel that we don't usually listen to our gut feeling. I've done it most of my life, and I feel like it's taking me sometimes it takes longer than expected, but ultimately life falls into place, but always trusting that gut feeling and believing in yourself. I would tell my younger self not to change a thing because the mistakes and the not so bad mistakes have led me to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And I am who I am today thanks to that. But because also I trust my gut feeling for the better, for the worse. Like there's no right answer.
And also give more demo tapes to Costco membership checkers. That's my takeaway.
It worked.
No, by being there, just giving it to the right person who was coming along.
Work at Costco, give your demo to everybody who walks in the door. Someone's going to get it.
It sounds like good networking. Yeah. Like the truth is just hand over your credit. Your what's it called? Your business card.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Hardest one. Joy, we'll start with you. If you can only see one show for the rest of your life, you can see it as many times as you want. What would you see?
Listen, this is not because I'm a part of it. Of course, I'm being biased, but I got to say, I've seen our show as many times as it's been running, and it's through rehearsals, through everything. I saw it not last night, but the night before that, and I just keep on getting moved by the women that we have on stage, by our cast members.
They're
feel
all
like
so incredible.
They're great, they're wonderful, and I'm halfway through seeing it for the rest of my life. So there you go. Real Women Have Curse.
There you go.
The musical.
This is a really unfair question.
It's the hardest question.
He did say, I'm going to throw the hardest question.
So I will say a little night music.
Ooh.
Because Sondheim is my favorite, but I always am alternating which Sondheim I love the most. And I think little night music is not appreciated enough. And I think that I would see it again and again because there's so many layers I didn't even realize till I saw it. Like I loved the music, but there's so much devastating. Like I think what makes it more devastating than some of his other shows is that it's like the little choices that you make that could have changed your life, but that you can never go back to relive. Like, can forever haunt you. Like it's there's attention to detail in a way that is just so brilliant. And also I think that A Weekend in the Country is the greatest song ever. So
This sounds so tragic.
You need to see it. It's good.
Is
I did it
tragic?
in college.
Yes,
it's tragic, but not with a capital T, with a lowercase t, which makes it even more devastating.
Yeah, it slips in the tragedy. That's why, like when you get older, you appreciate it.
It's a musical comedy, but that's where Send in the Clowns is from, if you know that song. But it's the kind of song where once you see it in context, it devastates
a
you
lot of
more.
songs you have to see in context, especially in theater, especially in musical theater. Sorry.
Well, thank you both so much for joining
thank
me.
you.
Where can we
Thank you
connect
for
with you
having
both
us.
online? Plug all your socials. Talk about your documentary. Like where can we check with everything for both of you?
I think the Jesse and Joy documentary is coming out August or September, and you can find me at Joy on Instagram.
How early were you to get the candle Joy?
I gotta say, it's more of a power move. No, I'm kidding. It's funny because when I started my account, people tend to know me as Joy from Jesse and Joy. Like that's almost my last name. And whenever we social media started, we had all the Jesse and Joy handles, but obviously people would have used my name or people with my same name, right? So my handle in Spanish was Only Joy, with the Only Joy. Like you would literally type
Joy.
Only Joy, but in Spanish. And I think the movie Inside Out had been out for a while, and probably Disney or someone they were saving the Joy for the character. And after a while, I noticed like that account was nowhere to be used. Like it was just like there for years.
Yeah.
So I texted my people and I was like, hey guys, I don't think anyone is using this handle. If you can just help me, snatch that, it'd be great because it's just like Joy. And they were like, yes, no one's using the handle anymore. So I was like, until now.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I want Alan. Someone could get me Alan.
I feel like it must be out there. Someone must.
Oh, someone's got it, I'm sure.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. But imagine.
There's not an Alan famous enough to just be Alan.
Alan Seals, hello.
Well, you, of course. Other than you.
No, I have Alan Seals, but I just want Alan, or maybe Al.
But besides, it's a good, it's.
Yeah. Anyway.
But
Well,
it's like the,
Ben, what about you? Where can we find you?
On Instagram, I'm at Benjamin Velez Music. My website's benjaminvelez.com. I guess I should plug our album's coming out.
Our album is coming out in
original
June.
Broadway cast album, June 6th.
June 6th.
And come see the show while it's playing on Broadway at the James Earl Jones Theater.
Come see it. You will enjoy it for sure.
So good.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy
it. I will embed it too.
You can embed
and
it.
Alan it.
Hey!
Serving the dad jokes. Brought to you by
Costco.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.